So Akash Tir is now battle proven.
So sir, now this Akash Tir and ISASSC combined together, like the controls of an S-400 can be directed by an army officer, and similarly, if an army Akash has to be fired at some target.
No, that's the Osaka, which is
This
on
is
top,
Osaka. Okay.
and there's a reporter radar below.
Okay.
But on the left-hand side is your Akash in some form. That's basically a 3D TCR radar as well.
So
Okay.
now, sir, you can your person can ask a S-400 to engage a target with integration of the command and control systems, and they can ask you to engage a target using an army Akash. Is that so?
So as part of the CNR, the S-400s is completely ISASSC controlled.
Okay, sir.
Because the cost is so high, and it provides more of an area air defense. So that is predominantly with the Air Force. This time we had the Akash and all the weapons below Akash under the control of the Joint Air Defense Control Center of the Army Air Defense. Yeah, so that's where the Akash Tir is based. That's the heart of the Akash Tir system. This is the ISASSC of the air.
Yeah, this is the command where interesting picture which we had the other day, Marshal Kapoor, and we discussed this picture out there also. So this command center decides what is to be hit
And you have
where.
a similar Akash Tir command.
Ours is much smaller. Ours just has 3 computer modules at each level.
Okay.
So we have rolled out Akash. In fact, the complete translation of the ISASSC's picture to the tactical battle area is through the Akash Tir. It's a most fantastic system where you have a centralized picture defining what is enemy targets, and it comes down. And it goes down right as far forward as the weapon end.
Okay.
So, what has it done? Just to give an example, we did a demonstration about 6 months ago in Delhi, wherein the ISASSC picture from Ambala of the Air Force went to the JDC of the Army in Pathankot. And finally, it came into the command post in Delhi in the parade ground to show you and it was all in milliseconds.
What do you do? Do you close airspace during this time? What do you do?
No, you just emit your radars, you get your picture. So the Air Force has its surveillance radars coming from the front. We have our radars coming, which are smaller ranges, coming from the lower end. And this fusion takes place. It's a multi-fusion sensor fusion of data which takes place. And that's how you get a recognized air-space picture. So that in that recognized picture, you're clearly told that this particular set of aircrafts are enemy aircrafts. This helicopter is an enemy helicopter. And this interrogation can take place upwards or downwards. So it's tremendously flexible. It provides great amount of latency. And the next concept that we are looking at is, while this is a centralized system, how do we look at centralization by incorporating distributed networks?
Explain.
So distributed networks is giving you a flexibility that wherever the least distance, it's a plug and play model into the automated system. So you get into a system, into the Akash Tir, plug and play it. If you have a dronal attack, it joins the system. So it's the next system. So that gives you tremendous redundancy. It gives you tremendous situational awareness. It gives you a capability to scale up your whole transmission of data. I think that's huge capability that we are looking at, and especially because drones coming in. Imagine if the drone picture has to go all the way to the ISASSC and come down. Although it's in milliseconds, you can't have so much of allocation done. Whereas if the front command post does it, then he passes instructions to everybody that you got a drone attack coming in, take it on.
So the VRSAM and the QRSAM, tell me, were they used? We've seen pictures of that. So were they used? How are they used? Were they effective or not?
So the MRSAM was used, yes, definitely by the Air Force. The Pichoras were used by the Air Force. The MRSAM was also used by the Army.
When you use them, when you say you used them, it was, we don't want to know the details about where and things like that, but were you using all these systems, and are they now battle ready, all these systems? It's the first time I'm presuming that in a conflict that they were used.
So, it is like this, that the rollout of the system was complete in north of Jalandhar. North of Jalandhar, the system was completely rolled out. South of Jalandhar, the system was in the process of rolling out. So wherever it was completely rolled out, it was extremely effective. whereas in the process of rolling out, the training was also being done simultaneously with the equipment induction, and so we used the old system and the new system concurrently. So the old system was a little more time consuming, it had its time delays. The new system is absolutely in milliseconds. So we used concurrent systems to ensure transmission of data to engage.
And these are both indigenous?
The Akash is completely indigenous. The ISASSC is completely indigenous. The DPSU Bell is the person who has integrated this whole concept pan-India. So every corps has adequate every corps has a JDC, that is a Joint Air Defense by the Army, and it has got multiple command posts at each level to take this picture right down.
Okay.
So when you brought up the question of the importance of the Akash weapon system is totally integrated. The MR-SAM is totally integrated. The IGLAs, I mean the VSHORADs couldn't actually get integrated because that is phase 2.
Okay.
We are not able to actually give this picture to the shoulder-fired launcher so far and the ZU guns because they are fair weather systems. So till the L-70 gun with the PFFC ammunition, we were able to generate as much as we could. When it came to the ZU and the IGLA, hence the IGLA was not actually the VSHORADs was not an integral part of the success story of this conflict.
Sir, we have talked about the success story of the indigenous weapon systems. Now the Army Air Defense is also being credited for being the slayer of the Chinese and Turkish pride, because all their drones, everything that were sent, the Pakistanis were sending, they've been defeated in a big way by the Army Air Defense and the other forces engaged in this. Can you tell us, sir, like how many of them came? Like from their side, how many drones were they sending? What types of drones? Big, small, the payloads that they were carrying, and how many, if you have any number, because it's been almost a week that this happened. So how many numbers we have destroyed, and what types, size that we have brought down in this 4-day conflict, sir?
Okay, so I'll try and put that into some perspective that, as I told you, that as far as the first wave that comes in is a saturation wave. So
that is the 7th evening, sir.
Yeah, so there would be large number of drones which fly a little low because they're trying to saturate your radars or saturate the gunner at the end. So I would say that these drones fly low and they are within the gun range, and they were effectively brought down. The moment the next layer comes up, it's taken a little higher. So that so you could go up to 2 kilometers. Wherever it came into the gun range, we tried to impact it. The jammers and the EW systems also tried to impact it by jamming and by cyber spoofing or a cyber takeover. There were attempts by us. We have the capability.
And the narrative only is that the Chinese spoofed and they jammed.
No,
the international narrative. So we did it too.
We also have a capability.
We just don't boast about it.
Yeah. So we also have a capability. We also jammed, and we also did laser. We have laser systems, 7 of them, which is again indigenously developed. The IDDS and IS, that is the drone detection and interception system. The laser was also effective, but the only thing with the laser, it takes one target at a time. Yeah. So in a swarm, it becomes a little bit of a challenge because you require a certain amount of time which that beam has to, lays on that drone, which could be about 15 to 18 seconds for it to burn. So we used all these different systems to ensure. So when you talk, so the first layer I told you was, these low level, then these low level which could be even Amazon for 40,000 rupees a drone or whatever. But they were hardened to some extent. So you could it's just to saturate you.
Like I said the other day, that it's the pizza delivery drones.
It could be something like that,
but you can't tell, sir, in the radar that ye is drone mein to koi payload nahi hai, kuch nahi hai.
It's just a blip at the radar. So what does the Indian Army have? The Indian Army has, and that is what we are looking at in future also, that the radar is one method of picking up a target. If with the radar you have an electro-optical system that shows you a photograph of the target, you can actually see the target.
Okay.
So some of our air defense guns, the upgraded L-70 guns, have the EO system in place, electro-optical system. The Shilka weapon system upgraded, which did a lot of damage in this particular conflict, also has an EO system. So you have to have a number of sensors to ensure you detect the target. So the sensors that you have in contemporary conflicts today are the radar. Then you have a passive RF detector which just detects RF emissions. Then you have the acoustic system, acoustic sensor, and you also have the the EO system. So a complementarity of these 4 sensors is very important to ensure you can detect.
How much did they learn from the Hamas conflict to send these drones? Is that kind of what the Hamas did to Israel? Is that the same tactic that they used, that just saturate us with drones?
Yeah, but in the Hamas conflict, they actually had human beings flying in and saturated their systems.
That's the first day when they did it.
Yeah.
But they've been using it for years now.
Yeah, but the saturation was not at that density. Okay. So you had about 1,300 Hamas flying in on the first day. So yeah, that saturated and created.
But subsequently, the Iron Dome is all the time it has to fight this
it has to
swarms that keep coming in.
You have to have, so hence it is very important, as I told you, to have distributed networks to be able to take on the system, because otherwise you imagine every communication system has a certain amount of bandwidth. That means it can carry so much of data of targets. Now if it is made for say 500 targets and you have suddenly 1200 targets, so you choke your systems. So I think this distributed network is a very important thing to ensure that you protect your system from being choked and being operationally effective.
When it comes to drones, what I want to know is, like, when your adversary purchases an aircraft or a submarine or something, it's an international deal. It can't be done undercover. Everybody knows that X number of aircraft have been bought or shipped or whatever. Or some guns. But when it comes to drones, nobody knows na कि कितना order किया है, क्या आ रहा है, इसमें क्या payload डाला है. So there is an element of surprise, and even these loitering munitions that everybody is talking about, वो भी नहीं पता चलता कि adversary ने कितना खरीदा है. So how does one deal with this kind of a situation?
That's a brilliant question, because it is like this, that over the years, the concept of air threat, the numbers, the quantity of aircraft, as you brought out, we knew Pakistan had so many aircraft, China had so many aircraft. You could fly an aircraft 4 times a day. Your pilot to cockpit to aircraft ratio was so much, so you could generate so many sorties per day. So it's on the basis of this that our ammunition calculation was done. That if you have so much of quantitative and qualitative threat, how much do you cater for? But as you brought out, there is no fixed number of drones. So we've got to go back to the drawing board to understand that how much of logistic stamina that we require for such a new threat. This new threat has actually, you can't have expensive missiles. It doesn't work out that way. It's too expensive. So we've got to have systems in place which, like gun ammunition, which has a greater amount of sustainability over a period of time, because there is no quantity. As you said, you can have 5,000 drones, you can have 10,000, you can have 20,000. Now that means you have to cater for ammunition. And I think we've got to get back to understand that how do we cater for this ammunition, because it's not quantifiable in numbers. And hence and not only that, first is the amount of ammunition, and secondly is the type of ammunition. Today, if you have you have a particular ammunition which is like a stone. So if you throw a stone at a drone, you might hit it, might not hit it. But if you throw a stone which actually fragments into small pellets or small stones, then you will get maybe 5-6 drones. So the L70 pre-fragmented fuse cartridge is the ammunition that we used in adequate measure here. And this is the future of how to take on threat of drones, is to use pre-fragmented ammunition, so that as it comes close to the target, you're dead sure that if it fragments and it throws out these little splinters, you will hit a drone rather than just throw a stone directly.